Good afternoon. Well, it's another warm, bright and sunny day. It is Wednesday the 14th of June. I've got a nice hot cup of tea and a box to continue unboxing. What I've got here is this. This is Thoughts and Prayers 2023. This is the convention fanzine, only available at conventions, from the Stockholm Kartell, with support for Mörk Borg and other thoughts and prayers. So you have to attend a convention where a member of the Stockholm Kartell and the and Free League Publishing are present. And this is the first volume. So in here we have Thoughts and Prayers tour guide here. So that includes Gothcon, of course, which is the national convention in Sweden. Black Tattoo Convention, again. Oh, that's in Denmark, so it's not very far away. Lincoln, another Swedish convention. Then UK Games Expo and Gen Con. So if you're not going to be there, ask a friend. That's what's going to happen to at least one of the copies I currently have. So we have here's the table of contents. Before we get on to Hog God, a scenario location with a really nicely done map. I think that's, I can't see who has drawn that map. I recognise the style. That's Skull Fungus. It's basically, he did the wonderful Isle of Ix. Yeah, this is a really nice little adventure with a location with almost a hog god as a dungeon itself, and then we've got a nice table of who goes there at the end of all things. Table of encounters to be found at the end of the world, because that is definitely very much nigh in the world of Mörk Borg. You're literally just waiting for the miseries to befall the world around you. We have excellent, just public domain artwork, which Ewan at Stockholm Kartell has found and liked. I mean, you know, it's his fanzine, he can do what he wants, so, you know, it's a nice addition. There's plenty there to appreciate, and just more of it. And then it's not just for Mörk Borg, it's also for Cyborg, which is the cyberpunk version of Mörk Borg, which may or may not be a cyber virtual world. So we have a location and an adventure generator. This time it's a sprawling car park. So essentially what you've got is a sprawling car park, and there could be multiple levels, and then you've got a couple of tables of options for what you might find there, and you just roll and go, and you just generate an adventure from that and go. Skewed Angel, another little mini adventure, because Mörk Borg tends to focus on quite small environments and quite detailed environments. Consequently, so we have Skewed Angel with really just the rest of it over the next page, and then we have tables, so things like fraudulent freemium game name generator, why is the product cheap or free, or who else is in the pub when the brawl starts. Just throw away tables for adding colour to your game. You know, unnecessary, but they do add content. And back to a perennial favourite of all role-playing, especially old-school Renaissance style role-playing, regarding the misses. What happens when you miss? Now, in general, what happens is you'll get lots of advice on how to handle critical misses, fumbles, because they tend to be colourful and exciting and dreadful for the player character. Here's just looking at misses in general. And then we have another cyborg adventure, or basically character. We have essentially the emergency response team as NPCs, or in particular, I suppose, PCs if you work them. And then another role-playing game based upon Mörk Borg's Death in Space. So we've got Cesium 66, an adventure for Death in Space. And then we return to Mörk Borg with broken body parts and what might be found there. Be vile, as you would expect, for some vile extracts, and the Hell Realms, an exploration of what lies beyond death itself, perhaps in Mörk Borg, perhaps in something else, but there's no rules. It's a systemless sort of like look at some of the concepts. And then weapons for Mörk Borg, a sometimes spiked flail to the face. You know, flails are nasty. All weapons are nasty, but you know, flails are nasty. Basically, big balls of metal, perhaps with spikes, perhaps with flanges. You know, on a chain, ready to slap you around the head. A polearm to plunge into someone rotten. So polearms. And you know, you think polearms go all the way back, really, in role playing to the Dungeon Master's Guide, Gary Gygax's guide to polearms, with Vector Corbin and the infamous ear spoon. But polearms are effective weapons anyway. So a pulverizer for all your smashing needs. So things to blunt things to punch your enemies with. A blade that slices and dices. So other options. So you've got Falcons and Chris's and Chris basically punching and then a Qatar punching dagger. Great heavy weapons, and these are all not just weapons. These are sort of like weapons with a bit of power and oomph to them, and special that might be found or gained from an enemy. A missile weapon for the wise and cowardly, doing the same for your missile weapons. And a love letter to their action roll. Look at the mechanics before we get a return to another contribution by Skull Fungus. As in, that weird egg you picked up last session? Yeah, it just hatched, and this space god spawn thing crawled out of it. Yeah, so yes, you picked up a weird egg. Now you have now you have a pet space god you're responsible for. Another adventure for Death in Space. This is Transit Precinct 45. An interesting encounter there. Part of the halo of the where humanity's surviving. Fiction, so a day in the life of a Psycorp drone. Then we have a look at Ryanosuke Akutagawa, the father of the Japanese short story, and this is utterly nothing to do with role playing. I mean, it's really expressing an interest upon Ewan's part within his fanzine, and that's fair enough. Similarly, we have 22 in records, so the Stockholm Kartell's views of some of the best records or records they've enjoyed in 2022. All the way down. And that is Thoughts and Prayers, a collection of gaming and non-gaming content from the Stockholm Kartell. You will probably want to pick it up because you're a fan of Mörk Borg or Death in Space or Cyborg, or all three, because you're going to get your money's worth out of this. There's plenty of playable content. There's plenty of nice, interesting stuff to read in there, and all of this, the content is really easy to bring to the gaming table. Anyway, so that's Thoughts and Prayers, published by the Stockholm Kartell. Pick it up from a convention near you, or get a friend to. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below, And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a fanzine, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.